Welcome back from the break and to the waiver wire. This week, I have 3 more guys to make you the best manager in your league. First off, we have Carolina Panthers running back Chuba Hubbard. The 4th-round draft pick out of Oklahoma State took over rushing duties for All-Pro rusher Christian McCaffrey, who suffered a hamstring injury late Thursday night that will sideline him for a couple of weeks. Hubbard had 11 carries for 52 yards with 3 receptions for 27 yards in just limited action. We saw what happened with Mike Davis last year when he took over rushing duties when McCaffrey got injured. He was able to have a breakout season and earn a starting job with the Falcons. I believe Hubbard has even more potential than Davis and can put up some high fantasy numbers until McCaffrey can come back. Once he returns, I would either release Hubbard or keep him on your bench just in case that hamstring continues to bother him. Hubbard is only rostered in 25% of leagues and should be fairly easy to pick up since many people don't know who Hubbard is. But don't worry, they will soon. Now let's move on to an old Denver Bronco favorite, Emmanuel Sanders, who's been a journeyman since he left the Broncos back in 2019, playing for the Niners, Saints, and now the Bills. Buffalo is a better match for him since they pass so much. The 34-year-old veteran runs a high percentage of routes on one of the most pass-heavy teams in the NFL. Buffalo's offense won't be this explosive every week, but Sanders' talents will likely come in handy once bye weeks start piling up. In Week 1, he was on the field for 79 of Josh Allen's 85 passing attempts, so he is seeing significant playing time. In Week 2, he only had 48 yards, but broke out yesterday for 6 catches, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns against a good Washington defense. Sanders is only owned in 25% of leagues, but I expect that number to double by Wednesday after that 26-point performance. Sanders showed fantasy owners that even though he is 34 years old, he could still play with the best of them. And moving on to yet another Panther, quarterback Sam Darnold looks like a completely different guy, and you should grab him for your team. For perspective on how Darnold has improved in Carolina, he only threw for 250 passing yards once in 2020 with the Jets. And as a Panther, he's accomplished that in all 3 games he's played this season, including 300-yard-plus performances the past 2 weeks. To add on to things, Darnold also has 3 rushing touchdowns this season, which is huge for fantasy. The stat that blew my mind, though, is that he's rated as the 2nd best fantasy quarterback and yet is only owned in 9% of leagues. In Week 1, he had 19 fantasy points, 18 in Week 2, and 25 on Thursday night. Those are solid numbers for any quarterback in this league. And his chemistry with Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Terrence Marshall is already so developed for it only being Week 3. It makes me so happy to see Sam Darnold succeed in a better organization and show everyone that he isn't a bust. If he keeps playing like this and the Carolina Panthers defense keeps playing how they are now, this team can be a problem, not only in the NFC South, but for the whole league. If you're in need of a different starting quarterback, you need to pick up Darnold right now. Any of these guys will make an impact for your team, and I highly suggest you pick up all 3 if you need the depth. But if you aren't able to, don't worry. I'll be back next week for some more under-the-radar players that you can sneakily pick up. We're going to take a quick break, but don't leave just yet. Madeline and I have some controversial topics that you won't want to miss in Hot or Not.